Well, thank you for your presentation. As a public broadcaster, you can be sure I and my colleagues have a lot of questions for you. Because, and let me start off exactly with that point, public broadcasters. The new media is obviously a great challenge for everybody. What is the special role of the public broadcaster in new media? We see other nations have used various methods of using the public broadcaster in this environment. What do you see as what is a special role that you have in a new media context, and what it is that you want to achieve there?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As we indicated in our evidence, we see the role of the public broadcaster as part of our broad mandate. We have to be on as many platforms as possible in order to meet Canadians where they go to consume broadcasting. That's part of our mandate. In addition, we've identified that we promote Canadian content in doing this. We promote the democratization of the broadcasting system. And so our role, as it applies to all other platforms, whether it's TV, radio, is now subsumed in the new media platform as well. What are the challenges for us in doing that? Clearly, as we've indicated today, there are financial challenges. We, like all other broadcasters, are extending our traditional funding model into the new media area simply because there's no obvious funding model applicable at this point in time. So whereas our role, our traditional public broadcasting role extends outward, our financing model doesn't. So that is the challenge.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your financial issues, and I certainly sympathize with them. Unfortunately, that's not something we can very much address. But what I really was trying to get at is, do you see your role or your function different in the new media environment than the traditional one? I mean, let me explain. For instance, I look at Britain and I see that BBC really seems to see itself as a repository of the digital heritage of Britain. Which is certainly putting a lot of money emphasis on that, and perhaps created an IPTV, etc. I see that the French seem to be thinking that really if traditional broadcasting should be a commercial-free broadcasting and should be represent a different France than that you see on commercial TV, etc. I just wondered how you see yourself in this new environment. Has your role in any way changed, or is it just the same on various platforms?
If you would permit me, I'm going to pass you over to Steve Billinger, who has had extensive experience in Britain, and perhaps he can give you a sense of the comparison.
Thanks. That's a great question, and it's yet another thing we need to be concerned about in this space. As you know, we're active in the digital archive space. We have been for a number of years with funding in part funding with the government. That funding actually is drying up as of March, as of next month. We made an effort there to take much of our digital archive, both storytelling, video, and audio, and put it online, but also put it online in a way that makes sense to Canadians with a narrative. So we have a very extensive digital archives right now live that is put together in a storytelling sense and is a critical part of our news operation. In addition, I think when I first arrived at the CBC 2 years ago, it was prior to the video explosion, we had only 4 shows available for on-demand playback in our video environment. And I said to Steve yesterday, laughingly, that this came through 2 Dell computers sitting on the floor. As of last week, we had over 7,000 video assets in a universal media player. I don't know what the number is on audio, but there's certainly in the thousands. So part of our role there is to make available our video and audio heritage in a universal media player to people, and we're succeeding at that. And I think finally, just to follow up a little point on Stephen's in terms of our kind of remit or how I see ourselves as being different is, media can play a really powerful role for us in local and regional, and we've been very, very focused on it over the last year and a half. You may be aware we ran a pilot in Vancouver called My CBC. It was really an effort to reach out and provide at a regional level information for people that was important in their lives, ferry departures, snow conditions, weather, and so forth and so on. We're in the process now of reconstituting all of that content online to provide both a kind of rich video and audio heritage, a history or a record of what we've been doing in the news and information front over the last 2 to 3 years, plus their own stories at the local level.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just ask Geneviève to add a comment from our French side. Thank you.
Oui, au sujet des